What's up, gamers? How you doing? It's John, and welcome back to another item review. This video, I'm going to take a closer look in reviewing the new Sinden shotgun. This is a joint effort between Sinden the company as well as Glenn's Retro Show. If you don't know, Sinden, they've done an amazing job really getting light guns to work on new modern LCD TVs, and this is one example of that. And then Glenn's Retro Show, Glenn's one of the nicest guys you'll meet. He's been a part of the retro gaming community for years here on YouTube, and he reached out to me wondering if I wanted to take a look at this thing, and this thing is super cool. So we're going to dive into it. I do want to talk about the shotgun real quick before I show you how it works. It does come shipped in two parts. There's two boxes. You have to pretty much screw it together. Basically, it comes with all the screws, and it's not too complicated. It does have two of these caps here, and they're easy to exchange, and the reason that is because if you have two of these, you can hook up two of them, of course, at the same time. You can differentiate one player and two player. But what's nice, even though they come on and off really easy, they don't like fly off. They're really snap on there really well. So like when you're moving the gun a lot, you don't have to worry about them flying off randomly. I think they're more there for aesthetics. I'm not sure if it helps with the camera or not. So the way the Sinden technology works, from my understanding, is there's kind of a small border around the screen, and there's a camera, and it kind of keeps track that way. Because the other way to do light gun games on modern televisions would be through like a Wii bar, and I did a review a while ago, not too long ago actually, about kind of using the Wii remote and nunchucks and connecting that and using kind of Wii remote in terms of that, and that works okay. But I would say overall, to be honest with you, the Sinden technology is superior technology to the Wii remote and the Wii bar, right? But it's cool that people are coming up with different ways to get light guns to work on modern televisions, right? I remember playing Duck Hunt back in the day and Hogan's Alley and all that, and just having a light gun. And what's nice about the Sinden shotgun itself is pretty much plug and play, super easy. There's really not much programming you have to do at all to get this to work. It's not compatible with everything, I want to be honest with you. It does work on PC, it works on Linux, it works on Windows. If you have an arcade one-up Big Buck Hunter, for example, you can get this to work on that arcade. It will work with Batocera. It works with RetroPie, which if you have a Raspberry Pi, for example, any Linux-based programs, it's not compatible with RetroBat, for example. I love that, Emulation, and there's other systems that it's not necessarily compatible with yet, but there are firmware, and they can always do a firmware update, I'm sure, down the road, right? So let me take a closer look at the shotgun itself. It's got some really good weight to it, which is nice. It does feel like a real shotgun. It has a pump action to reload, so rather than shooting off screen, you just pump it. It's also got force feedback, right? So check this out. You click it, and it's got force feedback. Super cool, right? In some games, like I was playing Terminator 2 by Midway and Revolution X, both great Midway arcade classics, by the way. And you can just hold down the trigger, and it'll just go into. Oh, there it goes. See, you can hear it. Hold for a couple of seconds, and then it goes into like machine gun mode, which is fantastic. So really, the recoil makes it feel like a legit gun, kind of arcade. It's definitely high quality. Now, this thing isn't cheap. It retails for $250 US. I know that's a sticker shock to some people, and they're like, wow, that's crazy expensive, and you wouldn't be wrong. But the quality you get with this thing, it is definitely built really well. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera here, but there's a D-pad here to move around if you want. There's two buttons here in the front and two buttons here on both sides, right? And those are kind of your start and select buttons. That's how you select your game. I'm using Batocera in this example I'm going to show you here. I've got this really inexpensive B-Link mini PC that I've used and loaded the games on. Shout out to my good friend Kirk, aka Keyboard Addict 1 here on YouTube. He's helped me set this up as well. I've had this for a couple weeks, to be honest with you, at this point, and I wanted some time to check it out. I didn't want to rush my review. I wanted some time to play with it and scope it out and get it to work properly. And it was easy to set up. At first, I was kind of worried that there might be a lot of like setup and worry about programming and get it to work with a lot of new systems. In this case, with emulation, that's not the case here. It's pretty much plug and play. What's cool is the games are kind of mapped to the games itself. So if you're playing Duck Hunt, for example, it'll work on Duck Hunt. If you're playing Super Scope 6 for the Super Nintendo emulator, it will work on that. So on this Batocera drive I have here, I have specifically only shooters. So I think there's like 300 something games on total I have, going from NES to arcade, of course, MAME, and others. The one thing about Batocera that's hopefully they can improve on at some point is it doesn't have Technoparrot, right? So it doesn't play any Technoparrot games. What's Technoparrot? Technoparrot is an emulator that plays modern arcade games, right? So really, there's a new Terminator one you have, for example. You can play the new Jurassic Park and things like that, and that's not the case yet on Battlesera. Like I said, I think they're probably going to do some firmware updates at some point and be more compatible with other systems. That's one thing I wish I wish it was compatible with other platforms, right? But it's compatible with a lot, with PC and Linux and all that. So again, the shotgun's nice, right? I feel like if I'm doing this too much, I might get people excited there a little bit. But yeah, the recoil is awesome. It does have some good weight to it. It's I don't know, 2/3 maybe the size of a standard shotgun. Well, maybe not that small, but it's definitely smaller than your typical shotgun. But it is pretty sturdy, right? And it has a nice long cord. I'd say at least 8 to 10 feet, which is great and appreciated. So that way you're not. And the Sinden technology has amazing accuracy in terms of range. It doesn't matter if you're staying right in front of the screen or not. It's amazingly accurate. It's a lot more accurate than what the old light gun games were back in the day for the NES and the boob tubes, right? So it's really cool. The technology is gone. Without any further ado, let's take a close look at some gameplay. Let me know what you guys think. I'll put links to the website Thundersticks where this is available currently. You can purchase it if you're interested. And I'll put a link to Glenn's YouTube channel as well as Cubert Addict's YouTube channel. This is not a paid endorsement or anything like that. He gave it to me, wanted me to do an honest review for you guys, which I'm going to do. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to share my critiques and what I think over the system, and what I think about the shotgun overall. Thanks for watching, guys. First, I want to show you is Duck Hunt. Now, this is Battlesera. This is the front end operating system for Emulation. Really cool. I love how it's set up. You can see the system, shows you history about the game, gameplay, etc. Got to show you Duck Hunt because Duck Hunt to me is one of my most nostalgic games for the NES. I remember specifically growing up in the mid '80s, my mom coming home from Prize Club, now it's Costco, and picking up an NES bundle, and it was the one with Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers in one. And the Target Pro, the Sinden Target Pro shotgun here, works flawlessly. In fact, it works better than the light gun does for the original televisions back in the day, the boob tubes, I'll be honest. And I remember that was kind of hit and miss. This thing, extremely accurate. I'm hitting every duck, no issue, using the Target Pro shotgun. And it has the recoil effect, which obviously the NES light gun did not have. Plays great. Next, we're going to jump ahead to the next generation Super Nintendo. This is Battle Clash with the Super Scope 6. And I remember, again, a lot of fond memories. Look how accurate that is, right in the middle there. It's perfect. A lot of fond memories with the Super Scope 6 growing up as a kid. Came with a really cool packing game. This was a separate game for it. And we're going to do a battle game here. And these boss battles in Battle Clash, so freaking hard. And this is a good example of the Target Pro shotgun. You hold it down, it recoils super fast. It takes a couple seconds, but it goes into machine gun mode here. And I just hold it down, and a lot less awkward than the Super Scope 6 was, because that went over your shoulder. This one obviously doesn't. And it automatically tracks. You can see there with my crossfire there. And it's automatically mapped to every game, which is super convenient. So that's a huge plus. And now I can play these games emulated just like they were meant to be played, right, with a gun on modern televisions, thanks to the Sinden technology, which is great. But I'm barely taking any hit from this guy. This is ridiculous. Look at this. Finally a little bit of hit, and then, yeah, not fair. It takes forever. He's got to have a soft spot. Just play it out for good. Oh, but now he hits me. Look at that. It takes freaking too much energy. It's ridiculous. Let's go. There's got to be a soft spot. Oh, I can throw things, right? I use my pump. I can throw items and stuff. That's awesome as well. Okay, this is Lethal Enforcers. This is for the Sega CD. And this particular game I have to shoot off screen. This is how it was in the arcade, and that's fine. But again, tracks well. I can't see my cursor. Of course, that's how the arcade was. That's how the game was meant to be. Through emulation, I could actually turn on the cursor if I wanted to, but that'd be kind of cheating playing these games. But yeah, it tracks really well. I got to watch out for the good guys there. Lethal Enforcers is a super fun game. Okay, this is Sega Model 3. This is going into the arcade now. This is Jurassic Park Lost World. And I remember playing this game in the arcade back in the day. This came out back when Lost World came out in the mid-90s. But this is by Sega, and it plays really fun. It recoils, and look at all these Velociraptors. It's ridiculous how many of these Velociraptors. And the game progressively gets more difficult. You play two-player. classic Sega game and classic voice acting, which is so bad. Some of these classic Sega and Namco shooters, the voice acting, it's just terrible, but it's almost so bad I actually enjoy it. It's one of those weird things where it's so bad but so memorable. Okay, jumping in. Okay, this is House of the Dead 2. I'm playing this on the Naomi. This is actually the arcade version, although the Dreamcast version is fairly similar to this. And I think there's a setting to turn the blood to red, because I remember in the arcades playing this and the blood was red. And I can see I have the cursor now turned on. And when I want to reload, I just use the pump and can reload it. And one thing I didn't realize playing this game is there's actually different paths you can take in the game, depending on if you save people or not. I played the game growing up a lot, and I never realized there's like different paths you can take, which is just now kind of blew my mind. I'm kind of dumb in that regard, but perfect example of terrible acting, voice acting. I don't want to die, you know, just so bad, but yet so good and classic. Coming around the corner here, I can never save this guy in the right here. I can never save that guy, dude. I don't know, but then I feel terrible because now I don't want to die. So bad. Terrible. But you can see here, you can save her. Oh, got her. Yes, perfect. Help him now. If I help this guy, I can go straight. If he dies, then I go back to the right behind me. And I saved him in this case, so we're going to go a different path. The other path, there's like frogs that jump at you, and then here there's like these snails guys that, or these slugs rather, that get you later on. Okay, next one. Okay, this game, Area 51, I cannot say bad things about this game. I grew up playing this game in the arcade. I worked at one of my first jobs at a movie theater, and this was one of the games there. I remember spending all summer playing Area 51. This is by Atari. There was actually Maximum Force is also a game. I believe it came out with a Maximum Force Area 51 combo. This game was also ported to the, I believe it came out for the Saturn and other platforms, PlayStation 1 as well. And this game, you can see my tracker, and it plays well. I've heard this game's really hard to emulate, and you might notice the audio is a little slow. Some of the visuals are slow. It is playable, certainly. I'm playing this on my B-Link, and it's a really inexpensive, like, single board computer. It plays decent, it holds pretty well. All these games are playing in 1080, by the way. I can go up to 4K if I was a little more powerful system, for example, and the Sinden would play great. So that's one benefit about the Sinden Target Pro shotgun is you can play these games in 4K through emulation, which I think's really neat. I could play the game all day. I love Area 51. Okay, this game, Revolution X, this is for the arcade. I believe this is ported for Super Nintendo, potentially, and some other home platforms, but this is the Aerosmith game, and it came out in '94. It kind of reminds me of a spiritual successor to Terminator 2. I think it was the same team that worked on this, but it's surprising a lot of blood. You get these CDs, and using the pump and the shotgun, you can actually throw the CDs. They're kind of extra weapons. Just like Terminator 2, you can unlock various weapons. What's really cool about this, though, here's a shooting a cat. I mean, can you get away with this in today's world, shooting a cat? I don't think you can, but this was back in the 90s, and no one really cared, and no one was like super sensitive, and I'm a dog fan anyway. I don't mind cats, nor would I shoot one intentionally, but didn't offend me in the game by all means. But what I really like about Revolution X is that you can choose your own adventure, and I was 13, 14 years old when this game came out, and there's parts of the game where there's like strippers dancing in cages, and not that they were naked or anything like that, but you could see bikinis, and for a 13-year-old, 14-year-old at the time, that was awesome. Plus the blood here. It's pretty controversial, for sure. I'm going to just say go in. That's an example. Looks like a CD menu, which is sweet. These guys take a lot of damage. Yeah, if you get a chance, definitely play this game. It rocks. And later on, you can see Aerosmith perform on stage. The music turned down for copyright reasons, but plays Aerosmith music in the background. They're the strippers. How cool is that? Sweet. Okay. Terminator 2, I mentioned this before. This is for the arcade. I love this game. A little bit different. Same team, I think Midway worked on this one. It's like anyway. But you have to let go of the gun to let your gun power recharge. So it's a little bit different. You can't just hold it down. Great port, and so fun to play this on this Target Pro shotgun. That's sweet. And it's so great. And then here's some upgrades. You use a pump for some of the special weapons, all that good stuff. So here, let me show you my final thoughts about the Sinden Target Pro shotgun. Okay, so overall, what do I think about the Sinden Shotgun Pro? Well, you know, I'm pretty impressed by it, to be honest with you. I like the fact that it's sturdy. I've got big hands, big arms. I'm a big dude, and you know, it feels natural to me. It's not one of those cheap products. Now, this is a follow-up to, I didn't mention this before, but there was a Sinden gun that came out a little while ago, and this is a follow-up to that. So the other option of a Sinden gun, right? Like kind of like you'd get with the Namco shooters, classic arcade shooters, or you have the shotgun. This thing feels pretty natural, to be honest with you. $250 is certainly not cheap for a product, but I think you definitely get your money's worth. It's definitely geared for arcade enthusiasts. It's not, you know, one of those, you know, for casual gamers, so to speak. So if you're into arcades and emulation specifically, right, this is definitely something to check out. And you can pair up two of these at once as well. If you have a second one, it comes with two different caps I showed you earlier in the video. The downside, I wish it was more compatible with some other platforms. I love RetroBat, for example. That's my go-to. Emulate is also really good. I use that for emulation as well. So there's a bunch of different ones out there. RetroPie is great if you have a you know, Raspberry Pi, right? And don't get me wrong, Batacera is great too. It's not compatible with some of the more modern games, which I'd like to see, right? Especially arcades in this terms. But hopefully someday they'll do a patch for that and for more update. Overall, I am really impressed. So thank you for checking out this review. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Thank you for subscribing as always. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. And of course, game on.